So welcome everyone. We are really glad to have you here. One of the best things you can do is there is a chat function on Zoom. So please do turn your chat function in. And when I am speaking, Mindy helps monitor chat. And then when she is speaking, I help monitor chat because we definitely want to make sure that we answer all of your questions and have this time be beneficial. We are also recording it. So for those of you who are online that would like to go back and reference something, you can definitely do that. As well as we are more than happy to send out the PowerPoint or any information like that. One of the best things you can do if you are not already on it is to join our SoonerWorks listserv, which Mindy helps coordinate that. So please do reach out to Mindy if you're not on the listserv, and please do follow us on social media, whether that's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or whatever social media outlet you like. Please do follow us on that, because those are some of the best ways to keep current with what we're doing and different information that we have on SoonerWorks. Before we get too started as well, I would like to put in another plug. So several of you on this call have students that are juniors or seniors in high school, or are a couple years away from wanting to apply to a program like SoonerWorks. Please put on your calendar, it is April 25th. Mindy, can you confirm my date is right for Sooner Saturday? But April 25th is something at OU that we call Sooner Saturday. It is the biggest recruitment event that
it is April 25th.
Okay, thank you. It's the recruitment event that the University of Oklahoma does. It is a fabulous one day, so it's kind of an intense one day orientation. It's specifically designed for juniors who anticipate applying to OU the next year. But we kind of definitely want to open it up to potential students for SoonerWorks that are going to apply in the next 2-ish years. But definitely a good orientation to OU. You get to come spend a day on campus. We have a couple informationals specific to SoonerWorks, but there's also informationals related to other organizations and then other activities that are going on campus. So definitely, if you have the opportunity to come April 25th, it's a great time. We will continue to send out updated information on Sooner Saturday through our listserv and through social media. So that's another great reason to join those things. So, all right, I am going to start making my way through the PowerPoint. We have about a 15, 16 slide PowerPoint to go over, but definitely use the chat box for questions as they come up. But I thank you everyone for coming. So what is SoonerWorks? This is kind of the big question that we get a lot, and it's an easy question to answer, and it's not an easy question to answer. So SoonerWorks is a 4-year college program here at the University of Campus that is really designed for students with mild to moderate intellectual and or developmental disabilities such as autism. We want to be very clear that SoonerWorks is not a degreed program, so students do not finish SoonerWorks with a degree from the University of Oklahoma, but they do finish SoonerWorks with a certificate. Mindy, remind me what our certificate name is. Integrated Community.
I think it was just Integrated Communities, what we're looking at right now.
Yeah, Integrated Community Studies is what we have put forward to be our certificate name. Hopefully the provost likes it, but that is what we have put forward. So just want to be clear that this is not a degreed program, but definitely has a whole lot to offer, especially for students who fit into this population. We have a little bit of statistics. Of course, those of you who have joined us online are probably aware of some of the different options that are out there and have already decided that looking into a college program has a lot of benefits to our students that are graduating from high school. And so what we know is that students with an intellectual disability, without participation in some sort of post-secondary program, our outcomes in terms of living independently, receiving paid employment, community engagement, kind of hover in that 1/3%. However, when students participate in some sort of post-secondary education, these rates increase tremendously. So we've also, although Sooner Works is in its first year, so next year's group of students will be the second set of students that we are personally admitting. We've been in touch with several similar programs across the country, and most of them are boasting paid employment rates over 90%, full-time paid employment with benefits, community engagement, and lots of students living independently, well over the 71% that's here. We can't wait till we can start putting our own numbers up, but we'll get there. So the purpose of Sooner Works is kind of threefold. And so we have this diagram for you, and we'll kind of go into a lot of more specifics as we make our way through the presentation. But the end goal is for our students to have meaningful employment. Of course, meaningful employment can look like a lot of different things, but we want students to like their job. We want students to be excited about the area that their job is in, and not just a job, but really looking at it like as a career. I am in this field as a career. This is what I'm interested in. And full community integration. So whichever community that person decides to live in, they are fully integrated into it. And we do this through 3 different pieces. But the interesting thing is these 3 pieces are no different for our students who participate in Sooner Works than all of our other students at the University of Oklahoma. We do this through college academics, which is students' participation in university coursework. We do this through career development, which is through internships that students have every semester starting after their first semester, their freshman year. And then we also do this through university life, which is kind of that catch of all the social things that are going on, getting involved in clubs and organizations, and really those extra things that kind of make a well-rounded college experience. I'm going to definitely go into these 3 pieces the next few slides, but the next few slides have a lot more pretty pictures. So I'm going to go through them so that definitely you can see the pictures that accompany with them. So we're going to college, right? So everyone who is in college is going to take university courses. Our students audit 2 to 3 OU courses per semester. The idea is that students are enrolled in somewhere right around 6 to 8 OU college credits. Sometimes that is 2-hour courses. We have a student in the spring who is extremely interested in health and fitness. And Suzanne, I just saw your warning. I hope that you are okay. So there's weather where Suzanne is. So, but all of our students are enrolled in courses. The student I was talking about will be in several 2-hour courses because most of the fitness classes at the University of Oklahoma are 2-hour courses, as opposed to 3-hour courses. It really just depends on what the interest is of that student. We have other students who, in fact, the student in the picture that you see here is one of our students, and this is him participating in one of his classes. The student is extremely interested in music and was in band when he was in high school and loves music, plays the guitar, plays the drums. I think he plays the piano too. But he's taking a lot of courses that are within the music school, and those are 3-hour courses. So we work extremely hard to match students' interests to the courses that they're taking, and making sure that they're also enrolled kind of in that 6-ish hours of regular OU credit. We also have students take specific OU Sooner Works courses. This consists of person-centered planning. So all of our students enroll in person-centered planning every semester, which is us within the Sooner Works staff working directly with students, making sure that they're well aware of, let's look at through your assignments, let's navigate through this. OU uses a platform called Canvas, in which professors organize their courses in an online platform, and making sure students are familiar with Canvas and able to log in and all of those things. And so that happens in person-centered planning. And then we also have internship. And so again, starting that second semester, your freshman year, all students are enrolled in internship, and they're out having real job experiences. The next slide is just kind of a potential class that students, these are classes that have been recommended to us, but yet we're also always going out to make sure that we have classes that pertain to the students' interests. But some of the classes that I was actually really jealous of, one of our students last semester, he took a class, was it the Pursuit of Happiness or the Science of Happiness?
Pursuit of Happiness.
Yeah, and it was really cool. Like I was really excited about the things that he was learning. One of our other students took 9 things that every college student needs to know about money. And I will honestly say this was a pretty difficult class. Mindy learned a lot about the stock market and some other stuff like that. But we really try to tailor the classes students are taking to their interests. OU has something really unique that we have taken advantage of. And so freshmen, every college at OU, there are something called gateway classes, which are specifically and strategically designed for freshmen as they enter into college. And so this is something that we definitely take advantage of for our first year students, helping get them enrolled in some of the gateway classes. Mindy, do you want to add anything on courses?
Yeah, and on the courses, the professors really work with us and provide accommodations to meet our students' needs, while we try to get them to do as much of the coursework as possible. It's going to look a little bit different for every student. Some of our students may be able to write a 2-page paper. Some of them may turn in more a bulleted paper with the main concepts and ideas that are to be discussed in that assignment. So everything looks a little bit different. And you don't need to worry about them going in and having to do every single thing that is the class requirement.
Yeah, that's a great point. And so the expectation is for our students within their regular OU coursework is they are going to class every single week. They are expected to be in their regular OU coursework. You submit an assignment for every single assignment you have. One story that I kind of like to tell is we had one student last semester, and the instructor was saying, the quizzes are really hard. It's okay if the student doesn't want to take the quiz. And the student didn't take the first quiz. As soon as we realized this was happening, we're like, no, that is not the point of this. The student needs to take every single quiz and do the best of their ability. And so on the next quiz, the student made a 50. And what was so interesting is we look at this 50 as a total win situation. The instructor said, I didn't realize this student was capable of making a 50. This student outperformed several of the other students in the classroom. And, the 50 wasn't the point. The fact that it was an F, who cares? The point is the student went in there, did their very best, took the quiz, and the student was very proud of themselves, and felt very accomplished. They were doing better than a lot of the other students who were naturally admitted into OU. But so far, everything's been working great in terms of regular classes. Instructors have been fabulous to work with. In fact, instructors are starting to come to us because their colleagues have had one of our students in Sooner Works, and they now want a student. So it's pretty fun. All right, so the next piece of the pie is looking at that career development piece. We all know that making sure that students graduate with job skills and with career readiness skills is absolutely critical to the college experience. And all other students wouldn't be going to college unless they graduated at the end saying, oh, I now have a degree in this. Let me go get a job teaching. Let me go get a job in business. Let me go get a job here. And our students graduate with the same credentials, more or less. We have our certificate as opposed to a diploma. But what our students have are 7 solid internships by the time they graduate. The idea is at the beginning, students are kind of exposed to different things. And so, for example, we have one student, as I was mentioning earlier, who absolutely adores health and fitness, and his dream job would be to be like a personal assistant, trainer, personal assistant trainer. I don't know what I'm saying. But really help people meet their health goals. I always feel guilty when I talk to him because he runs in the Oklahoma City Marathon and is extremely fit, loves sports. But we don't want this student's only job experiences to be within this area of health. And so the student does have an internship in the spring at the Student Rec Center. And so we definitely want him to be exposed to that too. But we also want students to see what it's
kind of can't see.
but we also want students to experience what is it like in an office setting? What is it like in different settings that they may experience. The one nice thing about any large university is it is almost like a city within a city. There are so many job opportunities on campus. So ideally, as students are freshmen and sophomore, all of their internships will happen on campus. And then as students move into upperclassmen, their junior and senior year, internships will start opening up into the community. The community has already started reaching out to us, asking, why do we have to wait 2 years to have students come intern with us? We met with the mayor a few weeks ago, who is extremely excited about opening up internships within the city of Norman. The city of Moore, which is one town north of Norman, has also reached out to us, showing interest in how do we get some internships within the Moore community as well. And so again, freshman and sophomore internships happen on campus. As students move up into their junior and senior year, internships are going to be moving off campus. Do you want to add anything, Mindy?
No, I think you covered it pretty well. I can't think of anything else at the moment.
So then we get to university life, and I'll be so honest, this is really more of my favorite part to talk about because it's just a lot more fun. This is everything that it means to have that college experience, to really be a Sooner, to get active in different things. So we have an amazing organization at OU. It's called Peer Partners. And the whole point of this organization is to help facilitate socialization and friendships amongst all students at OU. And so Peer Partners is a university recognized organization. It is filled with the most amazing OU students that have majors in just about every single college and major across campus. Absolutely amazing people. In fact, our president of Peer Partners was recently admitted to med school. I am a little sad he's a senior and leaving us, but really amazing people who are our peer partners. And so these are really kind of that first step to help getting a lot of our Sooner Work students acclimated to campus. Peer partners are there when they move into the dorms to, hey, let's go see a movie tonight. Hey, let's go out to eat. Let's go do this. In fact, we were working on an activity. Mindy was working on it, and the students had taken some of the different transportation options that we have on campus, and they had taken, there's these little electric cars you can take around campus for like $1, but we had they had taken a ride to the other side of campus, and then it was time to walk back to where the Zero Center is housed. And one of the students looked at Mindy and said, well, I'm meeting a friend for lunch at the Union, bye. You know, and so this is exactly what we want our peer partners to do. They're really here to facilitate friendships and, you know, the activities that every single student gets excited about. All of our students are active in different organizations on campus. One of our students will be going through Rush in the spring, and so we are very excited to kind of have that Greek life door opened up to us. One of our students will be doing that. Students are active in religious oriented student organizations. They're active in interest student organizations. For example, the student who's very interested in music joined the Young Composers music group, and is really excited about that. So peer partners can help facilitate those interactions. But at the same time, once students have been part of an organization for a few weeks, the idea is that they're meeting their own friends within that organization too. One huge important part of our program is we do require all freshmen and sophomores to live on campus in the dorms. We are currently discussing what's going to happen as students move up into their junior and senior year. Living in dorms is definitely an option.
Hey,
But,
Kendra.
yeah, go for it.
I'm sorry. I just want to go back to the peer partners just really quick.
Go for it.
Wanted to stress how much time they spend with our students. They each have 4 to 5 peer partners on campus, and each of the peer partners do about 2 activities a week with them.
Yeah.
And sometimes more. So you're looking at anywhere from, 8 to 10, if not more, activities, whether it be something simple by just walking to class with them that day, or it's actually going to lunch or they really all seem to like to meet at the Waffle House. I'm not for sure how that started, what's up with it, but they like to go there. So the peer partners, they're on campus, but they're also off campus, and they're doing a lot of stuff with our kids. And so I just wanted to let you know how often they're doing something with them.
No, thank you so much for clarifying that, Mindy. Yeah, and so one thing, Mindy said that, we have about 4 or 5 peer partners that work with each one of our Sooner Work students. We actually kind of informally, I don't want to say turned away peer partners, but we had so many people who were interested in being peer partners. Our Sooner Work students were almost getting inundated with too many people. And so it seems like they have really good social lives. I will say that. One of our students went down to the OU Texas football game, which is one of the biggest events, student events here that happens in Dallas every year. Rode down in a car with friends, stayed in a hotel with friends, went to the state fair, went to the OU Texas football game, and all of this was facilitated through friendships. And it's really great to see these natural friendships blossoming. So anyway, kind of going back to the dorms, all of our students are required to live in the dorms their freshman and sophomore year. The way we do roommates students freshman year is all of our students live in regular freshman housing. Our students are paired with another Sooner Work student to be their suite mate. So they have their own bedroom, but share a suite with another student in Sooner Works. This has been really successful because it gives students kind of their own space, but it also allows them that opportunity to interact with roommates and how am I going to navigate this and how am I going to navigate that. It's been really successful. One thing that we've been working on really hard this semester, or this year, especially Mindy, is to make sure all of our students are then ready to either go into potluck. And so our students that are currently freshmen that will be sophomores next year, they've got a lot of options. Are they ready to go into potluck, which is them getting assigned to any OU student? Do we want to keep them in an environment where they are matched with another Sooner Work student? Or a couple of our students have already decided that they're going to live, in upperclassmen housing with friends that they've made on campus. And this is exactly what we want to have happening. And so we're, you know, every student is unique. They all have unique needs. And so we do look at that. But living in the dorms is such a critical part of this program. It is required. We also have peer tutors, and these are individuals who help our students with classes, whether they are students who are in, you know, their actual 9 things every college student needs to know about money classes, or if they're just students to help organize things like, okay, you have 3 assignments due next week. How are we going to think about your time, and how much time do you need on these assignments to get them submitted? So our students they're pretty independent, but then at the same time, they've got a heck of a lot going on in terms of meeting peer partners, meeting peer tutors, person-centered planning, their internships, their university courses. They're pretty busy at the same time. So the next slide really just talks about residential, our kind of progression of how students are going to live in terms of their freshman and sophomore year, then move up into upper campus housing. I will say that university housing is absolutely nothing like it was when I was in college. It is pretty darn nice. There are these apartment style upperclassmen housing where students can have their own room and their own bathroom, or even like a suite where there's 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, and then these 4 bedrooms share a pretty large living area that has a small kitchenette. So there's a lot of upperclassmen housing available to students as they move into upperclassmen housing. And then again, as students move into those last couple years, it's normal to live out in the community with other friends, and we definitely want that option to be available to our upperclassmen if they're ready for that when they are upperclassmen. So the last thing is social life, and this definitely fits in with you know, just that whole university life. And we have some quotes from both of our student work students and parents of our students. Their social life is amazing. How integrated and connected they feel to the campus, to the university, to their friends is just amazing. It was OU homecoming, which is a big win, you know, and so some of our students in SoonerWorks wanted to go to the homecoming dance, some didn't. But, you know, they went to the dance. They're going to OU Texas Weekend. They're going to the homecoming parade. One of our students is absolutely amazing for finding things on campus and has gotten to the point where she's very comfortable going by herself to parties that we may have in the union and different things like that. So, Mindy, feel free to add. I just ramble on. So,
I think you're covering it really
okay.
well. You know, that's always, I think, the parents' biggest concern are the students navigating campus independently. And at first we're there and the peer partners are there and we are showing them where to go, what to do. And, you know, I think within the first week, everyone was like, I'm comfortable. I can do this on my own. And the young lady that Kendra was referring to that's really good at campus, one day her class met in a different building and she thought she knew where it was and she got lost and she called me and she FaceTimed me and she turned her phone around and we got her right there. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, they are really adapting well to campus and they've exceeded our expectations. I mean, I had high expectations for them and they went even beyond that. It's been phenomenal how well they've done.
They've been amazing. I feel like we won the jackpot with our students. Yeah, definitely. So the next slide talks a little bit about our requirements in terms of, well, do you want to start into this, Mindy? I was going to say in terms of the social life, we do require all students to join student organizations, and that is a huge part of what our expectation is for them. And they've each joined their own organizations based on their interests. And so I think two students might go to Wesley on Wednesday. Wesley is a Methodist student organization. But for the most part, they've all found their own clubs that they're interested in. OU has an open house in the fall to which students can go through the open house and learn about all the different student organizations. And so that's something that our peer partners took our students in Sooner Works to the OU open house. And they've all gotten involved. So it's been great. Okay, now it's your turn.
I really liked their self-advocacy on clubs too. There were some that I wouldn't say I pushed on them, but I was really excited about it. I would have liked to join, and like the students went and they came back and said, that's not the club for me. That's not the club for me. So I was really impressed with how much they self-advocated in joining and picking which clubs they wanted. So that was really something neat to watch. Okay, for our student participants, Kendra, I'm gonna have to close down my chat.
Okay, I'm watching it.
Okay. So for the student participants, really what we're looking at is students need a basic functional understanding of literacy and reading skills. So they need to have some comprehension. And while most of our students right now, they can read, some of them have a high reading level. The comprehension isn't as high, but they do have a high reading level. If a student has, we understand there's technology to help with that, but they do need to have some form of literacy skills. They need the basic math. When I say basic math, they need to know how to work a calculator. They need to understand and comprehend some money situations, because they're responsible for their money at college. We don't balance their checkbooks. We don't check out and make sure. I guess people don't even have checkbooks anymore, but we aren't in charge of their accounts. Yeah. They're responsible for using their Sooner cards on campus and being responsible and making sure that money lasts them throughout the semester. We talk about it and we check in and say,
Sooner cards work. It's like a debit card, and so they have X amount of dollars on their Sooner card, and they've got to figure out, oh, I bought pizza. Oh, I bought this. Wait a minute, I spent way too much money on food this week.
Yeah, or Starbucks. We're finding out that seems to be some of their addictions. So they're learning to manage that. So when we talk about math, they need to have just that basic understanding of math concepts and things like that. They need to be able to function independently for a sustained period of time. Like, they're in those dorms by themselves. They are on their own. They go to bed on their own. They get up on their own. They're doing all of those skills independently. And so we always talk to parents and say, make sure before you apply, and what we're looking for, those kids that have gone to summer camps, or even if they just are able to stay by themselves during the day, go stay with grandparents away from their families. We had some really amazing students apply last semester for our program, but a few of them had no desire to be away from family. They'd never been away from family. They wanted to go to OU, but they weren't sure they didn't want to be away from their family. So I think that's something that we really are pushing for students, is that independent component. No severe behaviors or emotional problems. Just like any college student, we have to make sure our kids are meeting the needs meeting the expectations on campus and participating and doing all of that. And college students aren't allowed to have severe behavior problems, because you don't get to go to college if you have that. And we kind of follow those same guidelines. Emotional problems, we don't have on staff counselors or anything like that with the Sooner Works. We do have counselors available at Goddard, but we aren't equipped to deal with severe emotional problems or behavior problems in our program. College looks a lot different than high school, and especially like IEP accommodations, or I know in Texas, ARD accommodations, things like that. It looks a lot different. They have to be able to adapt and handle change and not get stressed out real easy. We understand kids get stressed out, and we do have a student that gets stressed out, but we're working on ways to handle it. But even though he gets stressed out, he's still meeting expectations, and he's still adapting, and he's working on that. So while we understand it happens, we can't have students, it can't be a severe problem. Be successful in employment, they have to be able to work. They have to be motivated to complete a post-secondary program. like I was talking about earlier about the students that didn't want to go away from home, we had some students that had no desire to go to college. They didn't want to do anything. We were talking about friendships and getting on campus and doing things like that. And we had some students that were like, no, I like being on my computer. That's all I want to do. I don't want to do anything like that. So that's something we need to look at, because we have a lot of students apply, and we want to make sure we not only are picking students that are best for our program, but also doing what's best for our students that are coming into our program. We want successful students. And we also are looking at ages between 18 and 26. We've had a few people inquire they're older, and I think that we're looking at more of that 26 cutoff because they are living in the dorms and they're living with a lot of 18 to 22, 23-year-olds. Do you have anything to add on that, Kendra?
No, we do try to approach everyone as an individual and figure out where they are. However, and so, for example, one person contacted us and had a child that was in his 40s, and having someone in their 40s living in a dorm with, 19, 20-year-olds isn't quite age appropriate. But we, nothing's drawn in the sand, well, the severe behaviors, we're not equipped to deal with that. But definitely talk to us, and we're happy to talk through anything.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm controlling that.
Okay, this is always the fun slide, and I wish we could do everything free of charge, and I wish all students could go to college free of charge, but that's not the case. Sooner Works, it's a college program. They're taking classes. These are set costs. A lot of them that we have that are due to the university. They're not due to Sooner Works. We do have a program fee of $4,000 per semester, and that program fee supports us directly, and it supports our program and our staff. And then we have the academic tuition, and students have to pay in-state or out-of-state depending where they're from. And these are all averages. They're kind of based on like how many hours we expect them to enroll in, but some students may take more classes than what we're averaging, or so there might be different fees associated with some of the classes they're taking. So all of these are estimates, and close within the price range. It may vary just a little bit. Housing, it's $550 per semester. The meal plans are about $2,500. But the meal plans can vary depending on what your child prefers. We have some students that have more money on their Sooner card, which means they can go out and use it in more of the restaurants around campus. Or some of them have more money, more meal points that they get to use in our cafeteria. So it, it varies depending on what you want. So right now for in-state per semester, it's going to be about $1,500 and then $15,000 and then $19,000 for out of state. And if you look at it, it's $31,000 a year and $40,000 a year in state versus out of state. We always get this question. Right now, we specifically do not offer any scholarships through Sooner Works. However, there are some scholarships out there, and if you contact us, we have a few we can direct you towards. We are not in charge of those. We can't guarantee them. But we are also currently working on our certified transition program, and it's a certification that allows our students to apply for financial aid, and it's very similar to FAFSA for other students. So the only difference, and I wasn't aware of this till Kendra pointed it out, is our students participating in post-secondary programs like ours, they don't qualify for loans, but what they can qualify for are grants and scholarships through this certified transition program. And you have to be up and running that first year before you can apply. So we're in the process of doing that right now. And
Fingers crossed, everything should be in place for the fall 2020. We don't see any major roadblocks, but fingers crossed.
Yeah, but it's just not, like Kendra said, we don't see any roadblocks, but it's not something we can guarantee at this point until they give us the official, you got it. So
for those of you in Oklahoma too, we have also had conversations with vocational rehabilitation. And so for For those of you who are receiving or eligible for voc rehab within the state of Oklahoma, we are anticipating having a partnership with them as well starting next fall, and we should know about that agreement within the next couple of months. I know there's several of you online in Texas, and that is something I don't know. I'm not as detailed on voc rehab within the state of Texas, but I don't know if they're willing to pay for fees that are out of state, but that's definitely something that we can kind of see if we can get any answers to. So, but definitely there are, you know, I know a couple of you online have children with Down syndrome. So there's definitely some organizations specific to individuals with Down syndrome. There are some organizations specific to individuals with autism. And so there are a lot of scholarships out there. It's just a matter of figuring them out.
Right.
So, okay.
And so here's our application information, and our applications are released right now. And the dates will be very similar for in the future as well. So you can kind of get an idea. I know a lot of you are in the early stages of planning, while some of you, you know, it's the now time. But so these are the dates for this year, but they will be very similar in the future. So they were released December 1st, and our applications will be due February 1st. They're all online. There's also part of our application process is every student must submit 2 to 3 letters of recommendation. And we're kind of like looking at teachers and people like that have the educational history and background to recommend that student for our program.
Yeah.
Then after we get all of our applications, we will select the candidates that we feel might really be good for our program and that we might be able to suit them. And so we'll call that group in for interviews. Not every single application will qualify for an interview, but the ones that do, we'll have our interviews on February 21st this year. And, or that's when we'll be notifying. We'll have our in-person interviews, I apologize, March 9th to 10th. And that we'll let you know on February 21st so you can plan, especially for people like out of state. And then we say our selection of potential participants on March 13th, and that's when we notify you that, yeah, we think you'd be a good fit for the Sooner Works program, but the University of Oklahoma, they have to do their acceptance. So the students still will have to apply to OU, but it's not the traditional applications. They don't need the ACT and all that. We have an alternate application form for them to submit when they're applying for Sooner Works. And so that usually comes through May 1st, end of April, 1st of May is when everything is official. And Kendra, you always elaborate on that very well about the OU acceptance process. If you
and that's something, you know, so what we can do in terms of Sooner Works is we have kind of our admission process, and then we recommend students to the OU admission process. However, the official OU admission has to be done through OU. And so just because we've recommended someone to OU doesn't mean that they're admitted, although the truth is the admissions is doing everything with us to make sure that the students that we recommend are admitted, but that official admission has to come through the University of Oklahoma, and it's pretty fun. You know, they mail you a big welcome box with t-shirts and banners and stickers and cups, and I'm a little jealous. I don't think I got that much stuff when I got accepted to college, but it's pretty fun to get your welcome box. And so the next few slides kind of talk about some things that our students who are currently participating in the program said. Mindy, you want to take this one?
Yeah. So a lot of our students, you know, their big thing, like they're enjoying the academics, they're enjoying the dorms, but I feel like the students we have right now, what they love the most about OU are the friends they're making in the social life of it. And I think that's very typical for most college students. So we're really excited about that. But one of the students said, I've made great friends and everyone is nice. Sooner Works helps me on staying focused and figuring out the next steps in college, which I thought was a very advanced answer and really impressive. And then I get to be an adult and do adult things, which our students are just going above and beyond, like we've said many times in this presentation. But they really are, they're becoming adults right in front of our eyes. And it's so neat to watch and be a part of this process. I knew I wanted to be part of Sooner Works. I've known it for a long time, but to actually sit here and witness it, it has been, I think, the highlight of my career. I was a special ed teacher for 15 years, and I've worked with individuals with disabilities my whole adult life. And this has just been amazing to watch these young adults transforming and gaining all the skills, and they love it. We had one student that they don't close the dorms down over break. And
so just thinking about him.
Yeah, and they don't close the dorms down, and he lives in the area, and his mom emailed me and said he doesn't really want to come home. He said he'll come home now and then over winter break, but is it okay if he stays in the dorms? And I was like, yeah, people can stay. And so he loves his own area and he loves his space. And he went home.
He kind of informed his parents that he didn't want to live with them anymore. So I'm good now. Thanks.
So, I mean, they're making those gains. And then another one of our students, she reported to Kendra over Thanksgiving break that when she got back, Kendra asked her how it was. And she was like, my mom told me when to go to bed. Like, she wasn't impressed with that. I mean, they're really, they are just turning into adults, and it's so cool to watch. Kendra, do you want to go into the parent report?
Yeah, absolutely. And so one thing that we do is we really do want to know how things are going. We have constant communication with our families of our students who are enrolled in Sooner Works to find out how everything's going. What can we do to make things better? And so one of the things, and we really do want input from our families, is we were thinking about not having internships in the spring, but all of our current families said no. Our students need internships. That's really important to us. And so as a result, we are definitely having internships start in the spring. And we really do care what parents report. And so these are just, kind of some of the quotes from some of the different parents, but parents are noticing new levels of independence in handling situations that they didn't think their child would be able to handle. And so for one of our students, I kid you not, it was almost that nightmare situation, but her dorm room flooded. And so some pipe burst and her dorm room flooded, and she handled it really, really well. I mean, honestly, I think she handled it at the exact same level as you could expect any freshman student, disability or no disability, to handle having to move to a new dorm room in the middle of the semester.
I think she handled it better than I would have. I probably would have started crying and called my parents, and she called me and she took care of it.
So we just had a question that came up on chat, and the question is, when do we recommend students and families to start looking at college programs? I would say right away. The question specifically asks like sophomore and junior year. I think the earlier you start looking at programs, talking about going to college, the better. Absolutely, for sure, by the junior year, but I would start early. And so take visits, visit different programs, there's a lot of different programs look different, campuses look different, they provide different levels of support, and all of these are really necessary to help develop in that. Mindy put up the Think College website. So if you are not familiar with Think College, this is an amazing organization. It's funded through federal money, but it really kind of helps not coordinate, I don't know if it's the right word, but kind of serves as a place where families can go get information. They have a really cool college search. And so you can definitely search for 4-year programs, search for 2-year programs, search for programs that have campus, search or have living on campus, search for programs that don't. And that's really a great place to start looking.
And we just had a question about, are there classes or time spent on independent living skills? And we do work on that. Right now, we are just working on our Sooner Works 101, which is kind of more navigating the program in the college campus. That was their first semester. We have specific classes built into our curriculum, which will work on those independent living skills, work on budgeting, working on household. I'm actually working with the kids this semester on cleaning dorm rooms and making sure you have all these specific things met. We've worked on laundry, and then like we said, we're going to move them up, but each student, I mean, we have those classes, but we also are doing that person-centered planning. So if we notice one student needs a little bit more support on those living skills, that's something we can work with them during their person-centered planning, which we're going to offer every semester, which I think really helps tailor the program to meet each one of the students' individual needs and in the areas where they need a little bit more support.
Yeah, great question. So just some of the other things that parents have reported is one parent said that they've never seen their child so happy than being part of the OU community. That and this particular student is probably a little bit more aware that they do have an intellectual disability, but really the parents keep saying for the first time in his life, he really just feels like he is just like every single other person, and that's huge for this student. And then the last quote still cracks me up. Their child is having so much more fun than we ever could have imagined, but holy crud, I didn't know someone could spend that much money at Starbucks every week. And so part of that is like every freshman who gets kind of let out a little bit, and oh, I can't have $5 Starbucks drinks every single day because my Sooner card money disappears really quick. And so it's kind of fun. Granted, I'm not fitting the Starbucks bill, but it's fun to see these quotes from the parents. And then Mindy, you can probably talk about this one better.
Well, bringing Sooner Works to OU campus, it was a new experience for everyone. It's been new for us, but it's also been new for the professors. And we really thought starting the program that we might get a little bit pushback from some of the professors, because it felt like they had this set idea how things were supposed to work, and it's a college campus, and they're supposed to offer the class, and it's supposed to be this hard and be very challenging to the students. Well, every single professor we've worked with so far has been so welcoming and so open to the program. They've been excited about it. They've really embraced our students, and they've really held the standards high too, I must say. We've had some that they're like, I know you said that they may not be able to write a 2-page paper, but from the work I've seen, I think he can write this 2-page paper. Can we give it a go? Yeah. And so and he did it. It was hard, and it was a lot of work, and there was a lot of time in my office being frustrated. He didn't want to do it, and he did it, and it was a great paper. Great. And he actually, most of his work, two of our students, most of their work is in their classes. It was the same work everyone else did. And so the students, they're working super hard, and they're a joy to have in class. They are participating and getting more comfortable. They could see the uneasiness at first, and the students really grew throughout the semester. But I think that's kind of typical for all college students. I know when I walked into my first class, my freshman year, it was uneasy. It was scary. It was a new experience. It wasn't high school anymore. I like this. They're actively participating and makes jokes, and I feel and see he's comfortable in our class. And this student actually, in this particular class, that no one knew that he was part of Sooner Works. They had no idea. No one ever disclosed it. He didn't disclose it until his final report. They were talking about the ways they've grown as a freshman and things. It was in the perspective on happiness class and things that make him happy. And he disclosed that he was part of Sooner Works, and there was a program for students with intellectual disabilities. And the professor said that she could just see the awe of the other students and how honored they were to have sat in this class all semester with him and got to work with him, and how much he brought to the class. And they never even knew. And so I thought that was really interesting. And she said, thank you so much for having them participate in our class, that we've all grown from it. And she said they had to do readings in class, and this young man did amazing. And she said he should have been on the radio. He did so well. Yeah. And then we've seen so much growth in the few months since they started classes. The students are truly becoming members of the OU campus. And I think we have really been focusing on pushing that these aren't Sooner Works students. These are OU students. They happen to be participating in the Sooner Works program, but first and foremost, and in their daily life and everything they're doing, they are OU students. And I really feel like the campus has embraced that mentality, and the campus has been really good to make sure our students are included. They are there. I have the College of Ed does something every Tuesday for all the students, and I've had the College of Ed contact me to make sure our students know they're invited to come over for the socials. They're invited to come over every Tuesday for tea with the dean, things like that. People are just reaching out to us and being, I don't know the right word I'm looking for here, Kendra, but they're just really embracing our program and wanting to be a part of it any way they can, and want our students to be a part of the campus, and however they can facilitate it, they're doing.
Yeah, one partnership that I'm really excited about, and we're kind of working out the details, is the University of Oklahoma has an endowment from JCPenney. So they have what's called the JCPenney Leadership, and it's really for kind of the really top students who are in the School of Business. And so picture JCPenney's like back in the 1980s when JCPenney's was a huge thriving business, and that's kind of when this JCPenney leadership was set up. But we're having, working through these collaborations to have the next generation of business leaders come over and work with resume building for our students. The next generation of business leaders to come over and work on interview skills with our students. And so we are so excited not only to have these amazing OU students come and work with our students in Sooner Works, but these are the next business leaders for the country. If they have these connections and these great experiences with individuals with intellectual disabilities, they are going to be so much more apt to hire people with intellectual disabilities. And so we are just blown away by the support that OU has given to this program, and it's really exciting. So, go ahead.
Pardon me. Somebody asked about our numbers, and we started with 3 this year. We started really small. We got approval late last year, and it's just Kendra and I right now supporting the program, and we will get more staff.
So we've got a lot of doc students who.
Yeah, they help and support a lot. But for the daily, every day, it's Kendra and I right now. So we started small because we wanted to make sure we were doing things right and we were growing this program appropriately and making sure everyone's needs were being met. So our goal right now is, with this current application that's out, we'll probably take 5 or 6 more in the coming for 2020. And then we're hoping just to gradually increase that number to, I think our final goal is about 10 to 12 every year.
Yeah.
And dorms, they're scattered. They're all in the same building this year. We can't guarantee that's going to work. 2 of them are suite mates. One is in her own dorm room, since we only had 3, but they are in the same building, but they're on different floors and different towers. Yeah. So we don't pair them all together. We don't want it to be known as our Sooner Works floor.
Yeah, and that was a discussion that we had, that we didn't want all the students to get too paired together, so it became the Sooner Works wing or the Sooner Works floor. We really wanted our students dispersed with all the other freshmen at OU. So we definitely want to leave some more time for questions on this last slide. Please follow us on social media. Please reach out to Mendy so we can make sure you're on our listserv. For those of you who are looking to apply, for fall 2020 applications are due in about 3-ish weeks. The applications are not difficult necessarily, but definitely there's some information that you have to gather. For example, we would like to see the last copy of the student's IEP or service plan that they had if they were in a private school. ARD, if you're, Mindy and I both actually taught in Texas, so the word ARD kind of seems more natural than IEPs.